If you're an inside sales professional, you may know the answer to this question. If you're not, you probably won't know the answer. What's the question? The question is, what is the number of calls on average that are made into those prospects which eventually become customers? Obviously, you know it's a trick question, so you may get the answer correct. The number is 6. Now here's one that I think you won't know. What's the average number of call attempts made by inside sales professionals into those prospective customers before those prospects are abandoned? Well, depending upon which study you use, the answer is between 1.7 and 2.1. Now, do you see the same disconnect that I do? By abandoning these leads after only 2 calls, we're setting ourselves up for failure. And from my perspective, there's something far more troubling behind these numbers. Why is it that our mindset is such that we're in a rush to disqualify these leads with the least number of calls possible? Presumably somebody spent money generating these leads by participating in a trade show or advertising or public relations or developing a compelling landing page on your website. And if we know that the industry average is that 6 call attempts are made before an opportunity is converted to a sale, why on earth would we stop calling after only 2 attempts? Well, it's because there are other fresher leads waiting in the queue. But aren't we just going to repeat the same behavior with these new leads? If your organization has an inside sales team, we believe it's incumbent upon management to shift this mindset from hastily discarding the leads to ensuring that at a minimum they're not discarded until at least 6 contact attempts have been made by the inside sales force. And by the way, when multiple channels are used to make these attempts, a phone call with a voicemail message, an email, a fax, a note sent through the mail. You remember that thing called the mail? When some combination of a variety of channels is used, the conversion rate for these prospective customers doubles. Now this leads me to another area that's often overlooked, or which somehow always ends up at the bottom of what I refer to as the priority totem pole. And that's a carefully orchestrated lead nurturing or drip marketing campaign. More often than not, marketing departments will in fact execute many of the elements that would be part of a lead nurturing campaign anyway. They'll sponsor a webinar or they'll publish a white paper. But the magic of a lead nurturing campaign is in the orchestration. And by that I mean that multiple channels are used. The frequency of each touch point is carefully timed. The messaging is consistent. And look, you're doing these things anyway. Why not spend a little extra dough to maximize the impact of your efforts by hiring a conductor for your orchestra? That way you'll ensure that careful orchestration, which really is the magic behind lead nurturing, actually occurs. Lastly, we're obviously in favor of getting new customers, but often we find that many of our clients don't have an account management group which is charged with increasing sales to existing customers from cross-selling or upselling. Selling to your existing customers, as you know, is cheaper than selling to new customers, and it results in higher operating margins. And loyal customers are the cornerstone of any successful business, and you know that. So pampering these accounts not only results in incremental revenue at a lower selling cost, but these same loyal customers can be used as a source of referrals. And as it happens, at least based on our observation with clients, they're only doing it because they're not asked. We know that net new business will be the engine of growth for any firm that has significant revenue growth as its goal. How to accomplish that? First, by focusing on it. That which is measured gets managed. Demonstrate how important new accounts are to you personally. Maximize referrals by rewarding those which result in sales, and that's whether they come from employees who may be in sales or not in sales, or from your loyal customers. Third, evaluate your target market and then evaluate the potential which may result by targeting markets adjacent to your target market. Often, only minor tweaks are necessary to your product, or it may only be new marketing collateral that has to be developed. Lastly, to grow your engine, you're going to have to take away business from your competitors. Who's your primary competitor? It's that vendor called incumbency. Incumbency is the path of least resistance. And so it's a rare sales professional who can wrestle from that competitor known as incumbent new business. So when he or she does, let's spread the word far and wide among our sales force and our channel partners. And let's publicly celebrate the success of our sales professionals. And let's not forget to ensure that he or she is handsomely rewarded for this most difficult of sales. So to recap, we discussed 5 focus areas to fuel your organization's growth. First, make sure that your inside sales team doesn't abandon its leads until at least 6 attempts are made. And ensure that they mix it up by using multiple channels to contact those prospects. Second, assign ownership of your lead nurturing or your drip marketing campaign to ensure that it isn't bumped by some other project. And make sure that the campaign is carefully orchestrated in terms of timing and the consistency of your message. Third, if you don't have an account management function which operates in a quasi-sales role, you're missing a big chunk of revenue from upselling and cross-selling. And this is revenue that hardly costs you a thing. Fourth, exploit what's known as customer capital. It's that capital which exists with your loyal customers. You can do this by developing a referral program for them, and you might as well do it for your employees. Lastly, recognize that above average growth simply can't be achieved without taking business away from your competitors, especially that one competitor which calls itself incumbent. So celebrate these takeaways. Ensure that these wins are communicated far and wide. And don't forget to ensure that the sales professional who did the takeaway is appropriately rewarded and recognized for his or her efforts. And if you need someone to keep your team on point or to ensure that they avoid distractions, feel free to call us at 1-800-320-5368 or find us on the web at polarisadvisorygroup.com.